Hi, my name's Anne Drewniak. I'm your board chair, and I am coming to you to show you how we're planning on using Zoom to be the platform for our first ever Unitarian Universalist Church of Concord virtual annual meeting. We have done some research, talked to some congregations that have already been doing this, and have come up with a few tricks and tips for you to use. We hope that you find this format to be engaging. We have done everything we can to ensure that you feel welcomed and that your voice can be heard. There's a team working behind the scenes to manage this. And although we have done our best to anticipate any scenarios that will come up, the one thing we know is that something will happen that we have not planned for or could not have foreseen. We want you to know in that case there are people working, and we will come up with a solution. So be patient with us. Know that there could be a few bumps, but that we're doing everything we can to conduct this meeting with the openness and fairness and sense of democracy that you've come to know from our congregation. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a screen share with you and let you see some of the features that you might not be familiar with on Zoom. And even if you are familiar, we may be using them in ways that you are not used to. So I am going to share my screen with you now. And now you are able to see everything that I can see. And the first thing I'm going to show you is this participants icon down here. Depending on what you are using, it may look slightly different. Your personal settings could be different than mine. If you are on a phone or a tablet, it will look different, but these functions will be there. So feel free to hop on and get familiar with them. You also want to note this button, the mute button. You will want to mute yourself when you come in. So that we're not getting feedback and background noise from everybody who's at the meeting. So you're going to mute yourself. You're going to hit participants. When you do this, you can see up here, when you join the meeting, you're going to be directed to a waiting room. In the waiting room, someone is going to be there to credential all of the guests. And that just means verifying that they are members or friends of our church and are there to participate in a meaningful way. So you can see that if I am the person credentialing this participant, I have no idea who that is. I mean, I do because it's my iPad that I'm using to demonstrate this for you, but I can think of at least 4 other Anns that it could be. So what you're going to want to do, and this is something that you can do before you even get to us, but if it hasn't been done ahead of time, you'll be instructed to do it in the waiting room. You're going to rename it. And in this case, we're going to assume that there are 2 people that are using this device, because that could happen. You could have one device with 2 people using it. And so this is going to be Moby and my son Ethan. They are both on the other end of this device, and now we know that. We know who it is and how many people are there. So you can also see that this changed the view of this screen, and this is probably the screen the view you're going to want to use during the meeting, because what it is going to do is highlight the speaker, and everybody else is going to be up top in small thumbnails. if you're not in this view, here's where you're going to find it. It's going to be either gallery view or speaker view. I'm going to keep it on gallery view at this time because there are only 2 participants, and this way you can actually see me talking. If I use speaker view, Zoom is going to assume that the only other speaker I want to see is that iPad, which is not the case. That is not the screen that I'm using to share information with. So again, you are probably going to want to access speaker view. So now we're in the meeting, and just as a refresher, we have joined the waiting room and made sure that we have renamed our device with an accurate representation of who's on the other end. We've muted ourselves. We've made sure that the participant's screen is open. Now we're going to open the chat box. When I open the chat box, it goes right into this, this screen. It splits the screen. Yours might open in a separate box. That's okay. As long as you have all of these features accessible, it really doesn't matter what they look like on your device. So as things are going about, we're going to get to the business of the meeting, and you may have a question or an item that you need to point out. The way that you are going to make yourself heard is if you go to this box here, you can see these icons on yours. Because you're a participant, there is going to be a raise your hand button right here. It's a blue icon. When you click it, it is going to alert those team members I talked about behind the scenes that you have something to say. The moderator will call on you, and at that time, you will be unmuted and can make your point or ask your question. So that is how we're going to handle that. And it's not unlike if we were all together, you would raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Same thing here. Again, we have a team working behind the scene. Please be patient. We will get to you. It's going to take somebody seeing that your hand is raised and then alerting the moderator to that, and then the moderator being able to find and acknowledge you. So it will happen. We will make sure that everybody's voice is heard. So that is one way that we're going to use this nonverbal feedback to conduct the meeting. When we get to votes, we're also going to use this nonverbal feedback. Yes and no are easy enough. If you vote yes, you vote no. If you go to here, the 3 dots that say more, we are going to use the thumbs up to indicate I'm a member, I'm a friend, I don't have voting privileges, but I'm good. You can move on. Don't wait for me. All good. So if you are not a member, if you're not a member with voting privileges and you just want to let us know you're ready to go, give us the thumbs up. If you're a member and you're abstaining from this particular vote, you're going to have your coffee cup. You're sitting this one out. You're abstaining from this vote. If you are one of those people that indicated there are more than one person on your device, you are going to use the clap hands icon. More than one hand, let us know that you are ready to go, but that there's more than one person there. And at that point, you're going to go into the chat and you are going to say, Moby, yes, Ethan, no. And someone is going to be in charge of counting those individual votes. We want to make sure that if there are 2 people at the end of a device, then there are 2 votes being counted. And I believe that these are all of the tips and tricks you're going to need going forward. You are more than welcome to get your Zoom account up and running and do a practice meeting on your own. You do not need other participants to start a meeting and to find where these buttons are on your particular setup. You can spend a few minutes setting up your device so that it is easy for you to use. Learn where the icons are, practice raising your hands and voting for yourself. And that is basically all that you will need to know as going in. So let's see. So now what I would like to do is just thank you for your patience during this time. Encourage you to reach out and ask questions ahead of time so that we can spend the majority of our time at the meeting on business rather than answering technical questions. And I wish you all the best, and I will see you at annual meeting. Thanks.